welcome to First and Filoni. My name is Donovan Filoni. As always, joined with me is Andrew Cooper. How's it going, man?
What's up, dude?
All right, not much, man. But first things first, exciting news. I believe you and I both called it here about a month ago, but James Franklin has officially signed with Virginia Tech. What are your initial thoughts on the hire?
Home run hire.
Yeah, I agree. They got the
Uh,
guy they wanted.
yeah, but to me, if any other school that tried to pursue Franklin, I'd be pretty upset.
So I think he was wanting the Florida State job, right? But I think Virginia Tech just offered too much of a good thing right now to kind of rebuild his brand. My biggest concern with it for Virginia Tech fans is if he wins 9 games this first season, he's going to be sought after from bigger ACC and SEC schools. And I worry that he's just using this as a stepping stone.
Uh, I mean, this day and time, you gotta do what you gotta do. But
Yeah,
If I'm a Virginia Tech fan, if you can at least get them for keep them for 2 to 3 years and 10, 11 win season and get back to a major bowl game and
yeah.
possibly the playoff, and that's what you want.
Yeah, I mean, this is where, the question is like legacy versus winning, right? Like, not that you can't win at Virginia Tech, but would you rather stay at a school where 9 to 10 or 8, 9, 10 wins every single year is you're good and you're going to be a legend there at a school, or do you want to try to go for that, bigger school where if you don't get nine or if you don't get 10 wins, you're on the hot seat basically. Like that's the true question. I think Virginia Tech, the area is beautiful. Blacksburg, I think, is an amazing little town or city, whatever you want to call it. Like it's really, really cool, like to hang out in and beautiful area down there just in general. I hope he stays, but I just worry that we'll only have him like 2 to 3 years max, and then that'll be it.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like if I just feel like if you're James Franklin, I think one of his big things is he wanted to be close to his family,
Hmm.
grandkids, and daughters, all that. And I think Tech's middle way. If I'm him, I'm staying at Tech at least a minimum of 5 years. Go in there, try to compete for a national championship. I mean, win some ACC championship. But if I'm him and I'm constantly winning at Tech and I'm a
Yeah,
dominant force in the ACC, I'm not leaving.
I mean, yeah, I agree. I mean, especially with Virginia being a bigger and bigger pipeline state these days, Virginia, Maryland, and Pennsylvania, even like that area right there is just, and then North Carolina, South Carolina is right there, Tennessee's right there. Like, I mean, that I'm with you, man. I wouldn't leave, but I think if Virginia Tech gets 5 years out of Franklin, like that's a huge, huge win, I think. Um, well, I'm excited for Virginia Tech. I know good old John Wright's going to be excited too. So. We'll have to get his thoughts on it next week. So,
He,
um,
he's fired.
let's go ahead and do a big deep dive into the Big 12 this week, right? So, realistically, in the Big 12, we have 6 teams that are either one or two losses in conference. It's Texas Tech, BYU, Houston, Utah, Arizona State, and Cincinnati. Their overall records are 10-1, 9-1, 8-2, and 7-3 with those combined. Out of those six, because the Big 12 is kind of like jumbled up there, but those are kind of like the far and away better candidates. Out of those six, who do you think is going to be in the championship game, and who do you think is going to win it?
If I had to pick between them two, I mean, the clear front runner to me is going to be Texas Tech.
Yeah, I agree.
And the BYU Utah situation, that's a toss up, but I just feel like BYU's got a little bit more than Utah.
Okay, that's well. I mean, they beat them heads up too.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think I can see Texas Tech and BYU in the championship.
See, I think it's going to. Yeah, I mean. I think so as well. It's Texas Tech BYU in the championship. Um, I unless BYU loses twice in the last 2 weeks, that's what it's going to be. Utah's ranked so high in the college football playoff right now, though, that they know something that we don't, right? And that makes me think that maybe this is gonna be a three bid team. But let's go back to the championship game. BYU Texas Tech. They literally just played as well last week or the week before, and Texas Tech just wiped the floor with them. They just seem like more of a complete team, and I'm assuming that's who you're picking as your championship uh, uh, for this as well,
Oh
the
yeah,
champion.
yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I think if they're healthy at quarterback, because that's what's been their problem. That's the reason why they lost their only game is because they weren't healthy at quarterback, right? Um, if they're healthy at quarterback, I don't know what's stopping them. That defense is just nasty. I mean, Morton can throw the ball around the field. Like I don't know who's stopping them. And to be honest with you, I didn't think championship contender like for the actual national title would come out of the Big 12, but they have to be considered at this point with the Ohio States and Indianas. So, all right. Next question here for the Big 12 is how many teams do you think come out of the Big 12? Now, like I said, there's six teams in kind of the title contention, and there's four teams with at least 8 wins, and two losses. So how many teams do you think make the actual college football playoff? Currently in the rankings, there's three teams in the top 12, um, and then four teams in the top 25. So I'll go first with this one. I think there's going to be three teams. I think it's BYU, Houston, or not Houston, BYU, Texas Tech, and Utah. I think Houston maybe loses another game or two. Um, I just I don't see Houston's a great story, especially with their season last year, new coach with Willie Fritz, and um, their record is just outstanding. Connor Weigman's playing out of his mind, but I just don't think the Houston team can just skate by with some of these wins that they've had continuously. So I think my three teams in the actual playoff, I think they do steal a bid actually away from potentially the Big Ten or SEC with Texas Tech, BYU, and Utah all making it in the playoff.
Yeah, I mean, Texas Tech, BYU, Utah. If I had to pick a real sleeper out of this group, I kind of want to go Arizona State.
Even with all the noise coming out with Levitt wanting to leave for NIL money this
Yes,
week,
for some reason, I just feel like after last year's run with Scatterboo and all them,
it's interesting. They're ranked in the top 25, so they are. They're ranked 25, two behind Houston. They'd have to make a huge jump up here um, to do so. I'm just not sure they can do that here. Um, Utah has just steadily been the better team, and I just Arizona State's interesting. All right, looks like we're having some technical difficulty, so we'll move on to the next section here with the most surprising theme, or player of this. So I'll go first with the most surprising team, theme, or player. Um, to me, the biggest theme here is this is a lot better league than I expected, right? The way the top has performed has me thinking that Texas Tech, like I said, already might be a national contender versus just a conference champion. It look for Texas Tech to stay on top too with the NIL oil money going forward. They're just so good. Another surprising team theme or player for me, and then I'll let you get some in because I got two more. But I'll stick with Texas Tech, right? Outside of their one loss, they just seemingly have rolled through their schedule. And if they didn't have the quarterback injuries, I think I wonder if they would have even lost that game there. So, who are your most surprising teams, themes, or players?
most surprising teams. I really can't say Texas Tech because I've been so high on them the last, what, 2 to 3 years, I think it was.
Yeah, even four, I think.
Um, BYU with Retzloff leaving. I mean, that's a surprise. Nobody would have ever figured they would have made it with a true freshman quarterback.
Yeah,
Utah,
especially
I mean,
Bachmeyer.
yeah, I mean, Utah's always in the mix. I kind of want to go Cincinnati here.
Yeah, Sorsby.
And yes, yes, Cincinnati and Arizona because they're definitely one of those teams that's been undershadowed, but they're
Hmm.
constantly still winning game. I mean, I think they're what 7-3, 4-3 in the conference.
Yeah, I think they lost all conference games. I left them off to the top standings just because they had the third conference loss, but I mean they're not a bad team either. Noah Fafita looked like he stepped up from last year, even without Tet McMillan.
But those would be my
Yeah,
I would say, three major surprise teams.
I have to agree with Houston as well, and I kind of already said it, but the way Fritz has Wegman playing and just that team just in general, I think they're in a good spot going forward. Especially with the NIL money in East Texas like that, I think they'll be good. And then one other player I want to kind of highlight is Jacob Rodriguez out of Texas Tech. He's having the same pretty much same statistical year as Manti Te'o, but even better. He has about 100 tackles, one sack, seven forced fumbles, but he also has a rushing touchdown, a receiving touchdown, and then four interceptions. Um, I mean, he's just having the career or the season of a lifetime here. And that's not even the most interesting thing about him. The most interesting thing about him is his wife, who is an absolute badass. She's a Black Hawk helicopter pilot, which they keep, posting on the TV broadcast. But I mean, that's still really like that's insanely cool to have your wife be more badass than you, and you're having one of the better defensive seasons as a linebacker in college football history.
Oh yeah, I mean, hats off to her, man. I mean, that's if I'm him, I'd be scared to death to go home.
I'd be scared to death to say something wrong to her at that point, right? Like, all right, most disappointing team theme or player, who you got?
Huh. Disappointing team. Let me pull it up here. Hold on one second. Obviously, Colorado.
Yeah.
I can
Why
honestly go
why didn't
Kansas.
they why didn't Colorado start Juju Lewis from day one? Like Slater was not very good at Liberty, and I don't know why they thought he was the answer.
Yeah, Colorado. I got to go Kansas. I kind of expect a little bit more out of them this year if Daniel's coming back.
Hmm.
You got Baylor. The second biggest to me is TCU, how they opened up the season against Carolina and absolutely lit it up. And the offense was so freaking good.
Yeah.
And now they're just started to fade. I think they're 6-4.
Yeah, they kind of had it down. Their defense can't stop anybody. Is their problem. Like they had the high flying offense that we're used to seeing with TCU, but their defense just can't stop a running nose at this point. But I can agree with you as well with Colorado. Like I said, I did my due diligence with saying Juju Lewis should have started, especially how he played against West Virginia. Um, uh, Another thing is ASU. I was kind of a little bit disappointed in them. I know they're 7-3, which 7-3 is nothing to lift your nose at, but I feel like you said with how you think that they can make a run. Like I'm just kind of disappointed that they didn't make a run uh, with how they performed last year and how much of their offense really was Scottaboo versus just Levitt and Tyson in general. So. And then another one for me is Dampier. He started off the season so hot. I was so high on him. You know how I get hooked on one of those players like throughout the year, and he just didn't pan out. I mean, he's having a better year now, but those two losses they had were just not a good look for him. So those are my disappointing players as well. Let's move on to the coaching carousel here. How many more vacancies do you think will end up here at the end of the year for the Big 12? We already have Oklahoma State. Do you think there will be any more firings?
Uh, Man, it's so hard to say. I mean, maybe Dave Aranda at Baylor.
That's the one that I had is Dave Aranda at Baylor because he was what he was the hot name what 3 years ago, and then two of the last three seasons he's just been awful. Like doesn't look like he knows has his team bought in or his defenses can't really do anything. Like that just kind of you, this league's so fickle, man. Like you if you're hot in the streets and you need to and you want to improve your coaching job, you need to do it quick because I mean he just fell off the face of the earth, didn't he? Yeah. So I would go with Baylor as well, and then Oklahoma State. I think everybody else kind of like the lower teams are kind of like in the newer head coaching. I think Rich Rod's going to be much better next year. I think Colorado, if Dion gets healthy and goes with the correct offense coordinator and Juju Lewis stays, I think that'll be key for them. I think that'll be interesting to watch going forward. So I don't think there'll be any more firings here. All right, let's move on to Q2. Some news. We already talked about Virginia Tech, but news on the street and rumors on the street is that Penn State is heating up their coaching search. One of the names that they're talking to is JMU's coach Bob Chesney, who's been linked to US or UCLA, and that has since been debunked since this weekend. So not to use UCLA, but now Penn State has an interesting decision to make, right? The two names that keep coming up is Eli Drinkowitz and Bob Chesney. So my question to you is, if you were Penn State, which of those two coaches do you go with? You go with Drinkowitz, who's more of a Southern guy. I know he's coaching at Missouri now, but he's from Florida. Or do you go Chesney, who's been proven to be able to recruit the Virginia, Pennsylvania, Ohio, kind of pipeline area, but he comes from a G5 school.
Dude, I just don't think that they're home run hires. I mean, I just don't. I mean, at this point,
So are you ready to say it was a mistake to fire Franklin? I mean, I thought it was a mistake to fire Franklin in the first place, but
yeah. I mean, why would it? Why would it not be? I mean, yeah. Now you're pretty much getting in a predicament where you're not getting Lane Kiffin. I
no,
mean, who else? Who
no.
else? Who else are you really going to go get? That's
Well, they
more
talked
than.
about Signetti, but that didn't happen. And then they talked about Rule, and that didn't happen because those teams have kind of, re-upped them. You're exactly right. Who are they going to go get? Are they going to get a DeBoer? Could he be leaving Alabama? Do you think?
No,
Would Alabama fire him after that loss this week? That's the other question.
I mean,
It's
it's a
probably
good possibility.
more of the question, I should say.
I don't know. I
I
just feel
Go ahead.
if you're going to get one, I guess Chesney.
Yeah, I think Chesney is the right hire. I mean, I know he's only done it 1 year at JMU, but I mean, look at what JMU's doing to teams. They just beat App State by 55 points. Like, App State's not a bad program. Like, they're historically not a bad program, and they just wiped the floor with them this past weekend. So, okay, let's move into quarter three here. Getting to our superlatives of the week. Player of the week, man. Who you got?
Believe it or not, I went with. I kind of actually had two. I couldn't really decide on one. They're both on the same team. Uh, well, you go first because I want to get your input on one.
So, mine is Mendoza. After the game that he had last week, coming out and throwing 91% uh, passing percentage, four touchdowns, 22 of 24 for 300 yards. He did get sacked five times, and it was Wisconsin. But I mean, to have that performance, and it's his third performance this year with having above 90% completion percentage. I mean, he's just having that kind of a year, man. Like any other year that Julian Sand isn't playing the way he's playing, I think Mendoza is the Heisman for me. So that's my
All
player of
right,
the week.
we didn't get the same one. I went with two. They're actually still on the same team after a good Huge comeback. I'm with KC Conception. 7 receptions, 158 yards. And, hate it or not, Marcel Reed finally got his stuff together in the second half and it went off.
Does that worry you though? So let me get your opinion on this, right? He played awful in that first half, but then has the second half of a freaking lifetime, dang near perfect. Does that like elevate your draft stock, or does it hurt it at all? Because I feel like that should hurt it a little bit the way he played at the beginning.
You would think it would, but you can sit here and debate this all you want. I don't think South Carolina is that bad with what their record's showing.
Yeah,
I mean, if you look at some of their losses, what 1, 2, 4 point losses against highly ranked teams,
right.
I just don't think they have enough pieces. It's hard to say, but as far as they're hurting your draft stock,
I wouldn't say
I
draft
mean,
stock, just Heisman stock. Heisman stock.
no, I don't think it would. I mean, he led his team. I mean, you could say the same for Mendoza. I
That's
mean,
true.
look at the game against Penn State.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like I maybe not Heisman stock, maybe just team stock in general. It kind of makes me not think of the Texas A&M on the level of Ohio State and Indiana right now, or even Texas Tech, because of the way that they. And I agree with you that South Carolina isn't as bad as their record. And everybody's trashing Shane Beamer right now, and I don't think that's justified. But I just worry that come to the if they get down to that against like an Ohio State defense or an Indiana defense or Texas Tech defense, they're not making that 30-point comeback. So
No,
I don't know, but I mean, it's very valid for Players Week. Marcel Reed and Concepcion just lit it up in the second half. So, um, what is your game of the week? Is that your game of the week too?
I mean, there's so many daggone good ones.
Yeah, there was.
I
I mean,
mean,
you
you could
have
go.
Alabama, Oklahoma, you have Texas A&M.
I mean,
Uh,
you could go Texas A&M, South Carolina, Bama, Oklahoma. I mean, you could go Georgia Tech, Boston College.
yeah,
If I had to pick one, I would have to say. I mean, you kind of have to go with the Oklahoma Bama, right?
yeah, that was mine as well, and I figured you'd pick that. I mean, Oklahoma just has Kalen DeBoer's number, and that defense. That's the best Oklahoma defense we've seen in a while. And I think Brent Venables, you and I, or I had him on the hot seat going into the season. I think he's officially off of it because of how that defense has performed. Like that defense is ball hawking like crazy.
Yeah.
But the game of the week I had was Florida versus Ole Miss, and it's just because of Lane and potentially going to Florida, and then me being a little bit of a homer. But Lane is just playing so many games right now. Like we could talk 30 minutes every single week about what Lane's been doing this week, whether it's LSU or Florida or um, staying at Ole Miss, but um, they were blowing them out in the first quarter, and then Florida came back in the second and third quarter, and it came down to a defensive stop at the end of the game for Ole Miss. Um, and then the crowd was cheering from both sets of fans. We want Lane. Um, if you're Lane Kiffin, I don't know how your career gets better unless you win a national championship than that moment right there, where everybody wants you as their head coach, LSU, Ole Miss, Florida, and you're on a playoff run. You have what, 9-1, 10-1 team. Like, I don't know how your career gets any better unless you win the absolute national championship. Um, but I could ask you, where do you think Lane's going? Do you think he's staying in LSU, Florida, or you want to move on, wait on to that until we talk about the SEC maybe next week?
I don't know. You might want to wait till the SEC because I don't even think he knows where he's going.
I think he knows. I think he's just playing games with everybody right now. And I think he's doing a good job of it for his team at Ole Miss as well, to kind of, because I think he is leaving. But he's kind of having them still believe in that championship run, and that's a whole nother conversation. Winner of the week, man. Who's your winners of the week?
Winners of the week. I went with Oklahoma's defense.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
they had three turnovers against what was a pretty darn good Alabama offense for the last couple of weeks.
yeah. The only problem with Alabama is they can't run the ball, and they knew that, so they stuffed the box and made Tide Simpson beat them. And their corners are so good that they can just stay one on one on the outside and not have to worry about that. It's crazy. My winners of the week, I'm going to go with your guys. Is right. It's Texas A&M, right? After god awful first half performance, they just have the performance of a lifetime. And what you said with Marcel Reed and Concepcion just lighting it up in the second half. My other winner of the week is everybody who wanted Duke to lose. That they lost to UVA. The the two G5 schools in the playoff are no longer. I don't know who's going to win the ACC at this point, but it's not going to be Duke. Losers of the week, I'll stay on this one as well, is JMU. They're the losers of the week, even though they won by 50 plus. They're still not ranked after USF lost and Memphis lost, but Tulane won, so they took the lead in the American. I just think JMU should be the team in the playoffs, the way they're beating everybody. I know they lost to their only real tough challenge in Louisville, but they probably should have won that game if they had a healthy Alonzo Barnett. I really hope the committee starts to see what they're doing and maybe rank them next week because they're not even ranked this week. So that's my losers of the week. Who do you got?
Yeah, I mean, to me, I still have to say the committee because JMU's what ranked.
They're not, yeah, not ranked at all.
Oh yeah, they weren't. I thought they were. Well,
Mm-mm.
either way, I still think JMU should be above. But then again, that's why we're doing what we're doing, and we're not there. But the other team
Yeah,
kind of went with the whole team on this one with Georgia Tech, man. I don't know what's going on as far as the loss to NC State maybe will kind of expose them a little bit. I mean, I don't know.
yeah, yeah. I don't know. All right, let's move into quarter four and get out of here. Game picks last week, Andrew. We both had losing records. So our records now are 81 and 45 for you, 66 and 60 for me. Not looking good for me. I might be below 50% this year. Oof. The locks this year are 68 and 56, so doing pretty good gambling. But let's get into the games here. Hawaii versus UNLV. UNLV is favored by 2.5. Who you got?
Maybe UNLV.
I'm actually going to go Hawaii here, just because I love Hawaii at this note. UNLV is probably going to win, and I wonder if Mullen stays. That's a name nobody's talking about, and I find that very interesting. Uh, Missouri and Oklahoma. Oklahoma's favored by 7. I have Oklahoma, and I don't think it's going to be close.
I got Oklahoma as well.
Louisville at SMU. SMU is favored by 2.5. I think the wrong team's favored. Give me Louisville.
I'm gonna go SMU on this one.
USC at Oregon. Oregon's favored by 9.5. USC is looking very, very good. Come back against Iowa, 19-point comeback against Iowa to win the game. Who you got?
Mm, Give me USC.
Really? I almost picked them too. I'm going Oregon, but uh, would not be surprised if USC wins. They're having a really good year. Arkansas at Texas. Texas is favored by 8.5, but got smacked by Georgia last week, and that's why I'm going with Arkansas if Taylor Green plays.
Mm, Give me Texas.
Kentucky at Vanderbilt. Uh, Vanderbilt's favored by 9.5. Kentucky wiped the floor with Florida the last time we saw them, but I think Vandy wins it here. Pavia pretty good against lesser teams, so give me Vandy and Pavia.
Yeah, give me Vandy.
K-State at Utah. Utah's favored by 17.5. Don't think it's a night game, but it's like a 4 o'clock game, so it might as well be. Give me Utah big.
Yeah, Utah.
Michigan at Maryland. Michigan's favored by 13 and a half. Who you got?
Michigan.
I'm going Maryland here. They should have lost versus Northwestern last week, man. Pitt at Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech's favored by 2.5. Who you got?
And
This one's tough. This one's the toughest one of the group.
I want to say Pitt, but give me Georgia Tech
I
because it's
had
at home.
I had Georgia Tech because it's at home, and I mean I love the freshman quarterback Horschel at Pitt, but the way Haynes King's playing, I mean even in losses, he's still throwing 300, 400 yards and rushing for another 100. Like I can't bet against that guy. And if he was playing for an Alabama team or a bigger name team, he'd be right in the Heisman race, and it's a shame he's not. So give me Georgia Tech. BYU at Cincy. BYU is favored by 2.5.
I'm going BYU.
I'm going Sorsby, man. Give me Cincinnati. I don't think BYU. I think BYU's a solid team, but I think they're starting to show some weakness here. All right, so gambling picks here. Florida State versus North Carolina State. Give me the over 61 and a half points. Neither defense can stop anything at this point. Louisville versus SMU. Give me over 52 and a half points. Same thing. Their defenses are not great, and I think they can both get scored on. JMU at Washington State. Give me JMU minus 13 and a half and total points over 42. JMU's going to put up 50 on themselves, but by themselves. Kentucky versus Vandy. Give me the under 52 and a half. Kentucky just, I'm not sure they can score. So I know they scored against Florida, but Vandy is going to possess the ball a little bit too much. Arkansas, Texas, give me Arkansas plus 8.5. Michigan, Maryland, give me Maryland plus 13.5. Nebraska, Penn State, give me under 44.5. BYU versus Cincy, give me over 54.5. And then North Texas versus Rice. Andrew, what's the number one rule in college football?
Won't lose the food.
Don't lose the food. So give me North Texas minus 18.5 versus Rice. One last thing here before we go. Before we got on here today, I want to just get your live thoughts. NC State is going to be playing in Brazil in the next coming years for one of their games. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't like it.
It'll grow the game, though. I mean, you maybe get some Brazilian recruits.
And yeah,
Maybe get a kicker. Not have Kyle Bambar no more.
ain't that lucky.
All right. Well, thank you guys for listening. Next week we'll cover the rest, probably Big Ten and SEC both. And we'll see you next week.